I've always loved racing games, especially the loud, flashy arcade racers that care more about style and fun than realism. And I've always loved Sonic the Hedgehog, so of course a Sonic racing game is right up my alley. Now, I haven't played every Sonic racer. I still need to get around to playing Free Riders, All-Stars Transformed, and Cross Worlds. But I've played the rest, and I've enjoyed all of them. In fact, Team Sonic Racing is probably my favorite overall. But Sonic Riders, that one is different. That one is unique. It's the most Sonic racing game I've ever played, if that makes sense. While most mascots have generic kart racers, Sonic had this series for a while, which is anything but generic. It's not the easiest racing game, and it most certainly isn't the most accessible. But because it's the one that my 8-year-old nephew absolutely loves, he's obsessed with Sonic, and since I'm basically the only person in the family who likes Sonic and knows how to play this game, I've spent countless hours racing with him in the multiplayer. And I've played the story twice because the story in this game is really freaking good. And today is a special day for it, because as of this video going live, Sonic Riders officially turns 20 years old. So the real question is Sonic Riders actually any good? And more importantly, can I recommend it to someone today? Let's find out. The story kicks off with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles walking through this slick, futuristic city looking for a Chaos Emerald. Why? Don't know. But then they see these guys bust out of a building and apparently they stole it. And after Knuckles beats the ever-loving crap out of one of them, Sonic steals one of the boards and gives chase. And this is where we meet our new rival, Jet the Hawk. Okay, tell me I'm not crazy. When Jet says this...
Oh, not bad.
He sounds exactly like Sonic. Turns out Jet and Sonic share the same voice actor, and I swear, this line was recorded when he was still trying to figure out what Jet's voice was supposed to be. Anyway, the thieves get away, but Sonic is thrilled because, hey, new competition! Cut to the next day. Eggman hijacks every screen in the city and announces he's hosting the World Grand Prix. And the entrance fee is 1 Chaos Emerald. Oh, and that group that Sonic and his friends ran into last night, turns out they're called the Babylon Rogues. And they'll be competing in the tournament as well. And then he drops the legendary line,
Extreme Gear. Not just a race, but a special race to see who's the fastest.
which is basically the equivalent of saying, not just any swimming competition, a special swimming competition where you swim. It's such a stupid line that it's become a meme at this point. But here's the thing, it wasn't supposed to be so stupid. It's actually a mistranslation. In Japanese, the line reads more like, "We're not only determining the world's fastest," followed by, "This time, the races are no-holds-bars battles without rules." Which, yeah, sounds way cooler. And makes way more sense in context. But the English version? It sounds like Eggman has dementia and forgot what a race is halfway through the sentence. Anyway, instead of Sonic stopping for even half a second to think, wait, Eggman is hosting a race? That has to be evil. He just shrugs and goes, "Cool, I'm entering." Like, Why? It's Eggman. If he's involved, there's a 99% chance something nefarious is happening. But nope, Sonic doesn't question it for a moment. He just signs up like he's entering a charity fun run. And that leads us into the first track, Metal City. This is where you're supposed to learn how to play Sonic Riders, and by learn, I mean the game just throws you out there and is like, okay, figure it out, bucko. The problem is, Sonic Riders is not like most racing games. At all. Mario Kart, you can pick that up in a minute. Sonic Riders, oh boy. You practically need a research paper, a flowchart, and a support group to help you figure out how to play this game for the first time. The game gives you no tutorial, none. You're just thrown in and expected to figure it out. I'm sure the manual explains something, but I don't have the manual. Luckily, I already know what I'm doing. So let me break this down for you guys. Let's start with the starting line. You wait for the little electric barrier to drop, which it will do whenever it hits the starting line. You can run up behind it, but you can't touch it, otherwise it will stun you. Got it? Good. The air meter is the next thing we gotta talk about. This is your fuel. It drains constantly. Boosting drains it faster. Press B button to boost. You keeping up with me here? Great. Movement. You do not accelerate manually. The board moves forward on its own. You just steer it. Got it? Good. Jumping. Hold A to charge a jump. Release to launch. The longer you hold it, the more air you will use and the higher you will go. This allows you to jump off ramps, jump onto grind rails, and jump up the shortcuts. And it lets you do tricks when you do it off a ramp. Tricks. This is the big one. You flick or hold the analog stick in different directions when you hit a ramp to perform tricks. But, this is critical, you must land in a neutral position or you will wipe out. My nephew discovered the ultimate strategy. Spin the stick like a maniac and then let it go right before landing. And you will most of the time land in a neutral position.
Wait! There's more!
Oh, by the way, there are character types too. The speed type can grind on rails, the power type can smash obstacles, and the flight type can fly through the air using these rings. But also, did I mention that while they're flying, their controls are inverted? Yep, that's important to keep in mind. Attacks! Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Press B next to an opponent when you reach a certain level to smack them and make them drop all the rings and lose speed. Oh, and I almost completely forgot to mention turbulence. When a racer in front of you is going fast enough, they leave behind this giant windy trail. You can actually ride that turbulence to conserve air, pick up speed, and even perform tricks off the sides of it. But be careful, it's also possible to get caught up in the turbulence and be stuck going on whatever path your opponent is taking. If that happens, press both shoulder buttons at the exact same time to escape the turbulence. Did you get all that? Good! Because Sonic Riders expects you to learn all of this in the first 30 seconds. And now that we got all of that out of the way, let's talk about Metal City, the first track in the game. And honestly, as an opening course, it's pretty solid. It's short, it's simple, it gives you just enough alternate paths to make you feel clever without overwhelming you and overcomplicating the track. Every type has at least one good shortcut in this level. And no type really dominates here. So whether you pick speed, power, or flight type, you will have a shortcut to take here. And the aesthetics are great too. You really feel like you're weaving through a futuristic metropolis, which raises one very important question. Is this race even legal? Like, is this sanctioned by any governing body? Or did Eggman just wake up one morning and declare, yeah, we're racing now? Because there are multiple sections where you are literally barreling through oncoming traffic. And I'm sorry, but I don't think any legal or professionally sanctioned race would have the racers go through oncoming traffic. I'm sorry, that just seems like a major safety violation. Also, the music for this level absolutely slaps. I love this track. It really captures the vibe perfectly. After Metal City, we jump straight into another cutscene, and this one is packed full of stuff. So let me simplify it for you. Tails remembers noticing a symbol on one of the Babylon Rogues' boards, and immediately launches into a whole historical lesson. According to him, the Rogues are descended from ancient groups of sky thieves called the Babylonians. And honestly, anyone with 2 brain cells could have guessed that. Babylon Rogues and ancient Babylonians? Yeah, they're probably connected. But anyway, Tails goes off on a whole history lesson, and short version is this. There used to be a clan of thieves who lived on a floating island in the sky. They stole a bunch of stuff, made the gods mad, and they said nope, and sank their island into the earth. Oh, and apparently the Babylon Rogues' treasure was supposedly on that island. So, yeah. Oh, and then Wave shows up, takes one look at Tails' board, and absolutely roasts him. She calls it a piece of junk, and you can see Tails is just hurt by this. And then he gets angry. Clearly mad that someone would dish him like that. Oh, and Amy signed up for the race as well, purely to get closer to Sonic, which is the most Amy thing imaginable. Then we move on to the next track, Splash Canyon, where you play as Tails. And honestly, it's a decent course. You're racing through a canyon full of greenery, waterfalls, and weird bridges. Visually, it's very pretty, and it takes full advantage of the flight-type gameplay. I'll give it that. The standout moment for me is the cave section, where you go through this cave, hit a ramp, and launch straight out through a waterfall. It's a cool visual, and it feels great in motion. Other than that, I don't have a ton to say about this track. It's solid, it's scenic, and the music fits it pretty well, too. After Tails wins his race, we get to the next cutscene, which has Knuckles and Storm acting like 2 complete lumbering idiots. They smash things, they yell at each other, they posture like cavemen. Basically, they're 2 brick walls arguing about who's the stronger brick wall. Then we move on to the next track, Egg Factory. And Egg Factory is exactly what you'd expect from something with Eggman's name stamped on it. You're racing through a giant metal furnace of a base, and honestly, it's a blast. This place is practically a playground for the power-type characters. There are obstacles everywhere, just bragging to be smashed. And shortcuts that only the power types can take full advantage of. The whole track is drenched in heat. Literal heat. There are lava pools, molten vents, shimmering air distortion. You can practically feel your eyebrows shearing as you race through this track. And visually, it's striking. Mechanically, it's satisfying. And the music, pretty daggum solid. It nails that industrial vibe Eggman loves so much. Next up, we cut to Sonic practicing out in a jungle somewhere when Jet shows up and starts smack-talking him into the dirt. And to Sonic's credit, he actually acknowledges that Jet has real skill. Enough that he needs to stay sharp. It's one of the few moments where Sonic isn't cocky for the sake of being cocky. This leads us into the next race, Green Forest, where you play as Tails. And Green Forest is, well, it's a pretty cool track, but I'm just gonna say it. This place looks more like a damn jungle than a forest. I don't know if there's a localization thing or what, but when I see giant vines, massive trees, and tribal-sounding chants in the music, my brain goes jungle, not forest. Naming aside, the level itself is awesome. You're racing along vines, weaving through canopy, and at one point, you literally ride on the backs of giant centipedes. I have no idea where these centipedes came from, why they're giving us a lift, or why riding them magically refills our air meter, but hey, it's cool, so I'm not questioning it. There's also a really neat shortcut near the end of the track. If you charge up your jump high enough, you can actually hit a giant spider web and bounce off of it, shaving a couple seconds off your time. It's one of the more satisfying shortcuts in the game. Also, flight-type characters get a ton of love here, with multiple flight-type shortcuts that let you fly over a majority of the course. Also, the music absolutely nails the vibe. It's energetic, rhythmic, and perfectly suited to jungle, forest, whatever this place is. The next level takes us straight into the desert, where the final race of the tournament is being held. Sonic and Jet smack talk each other again. At this point, it's basically their love language.
Ha! You're lucky you got this far. It obviously wasn't due to your skills. I won't lose now.
And when that's over with, we get to play as Sonic again on my absolute favorite track in the entire game, Sand Ruins. I'll give you one hint as to why I adore this track so much. Ancient Ruins. Sure, other tracks and riders have ruins, but Sand Ruins has the best ancient ruins in the entire game. The first half gives you these gorgeous, sand-coated temple structures half buried in the dunes. And then the second half drops you underground into this bizarre techno-ancient ruin that looks like it was built by some long-lost civilization, with way too much time on their hands, and way too many glowing panels to spare. Seriously! It's ancient ruins everywhere, so of course I'm gonna freaking love it. The track itself is no joke, though there are multiple spots where you can fall into bottomless pits if you're not paying attention, and the layout demands precision. Even I still mess up here sometimes and fall to my doom out of pure stupidity. And I've played this track more times than I can count. So for newcomers, yeah, this one's gonna be a challenge. But the beauty of Sand Ruins is also in the fact that it's packed with shortcuts for every character type. Speed, power, flight, it doesn't matter. If you're skilled enough to reach them, there's a shortcut waiting for you. It's one of the most flexible and rewarding tracks in the entire game. And the music? Do I even need to say it? It's freaking awesome. Easily the best racing theme in the entire game. It nails the Desert Ruins adventure vibe perfectly. Alright, so after the desert race, Sonic is about to cross the finish line. When surprise, there's a bomb strapped to the bottom of his board. Wave presses the detonator, and Sonic goes kaboom, and wipes out. And Jet just strolls across the finish line like he just won a neighborhood foot race instead of committing what is basically hoverboard terrorism. I have to ask, when did Wave place that bomb on Sonic's board? Whatever. We'll pretend this makes sense and come back to it later. Jet then takes this mysterious cube and the Chaos Emeralds he won, does something with the Chaos Emeralds and the cube, and suddenly, Babylon Garden rises out of the desert like it's been waiting for its dramatic entrance cue. It's a floating island, it's ancient, it's mysterious, so of course, it's awesome. Then Eggman, being Eggman, just casually steals the cube right out of Jet's hand. Literally, just plunks it right from him, and Jet doesn't even notice for a solid minute. The only person who seems to realize Eggman's doing something nefarious is Amy. So she hitches a ride on Eggman's egg carrier as they fly off towards Babylon Garden. This kicks off the final chase. Sonic goes after Eggman to rescue Amy. Jet goes after Eggman to get his cube back, and Eggman's going after... You know, the story hasn't actually explained what Eggman's going after, but something nefarious probably. And that brings us to the final race of the hero story, Babylon Garden. And let me tell you, this track is hard. Like, I played this game multiple times and raced in it a lot, but this track still kicks my ass. Most of the track is manageable if you know how to drift. But then you reach the turn. You know the one, that razor-sharp drift near the end that sends you flying off the edge if you so much as breathe wrong. I've lost, I can't tell you how many times, because I screwed up this turn. It's brutal. Your best bet is to ride someone's jet stream through the turn, so you don't have to drift at all. But if that jet stream ends early, congratulations, you're taking the express route to the abyss. There's no skipping, no clever shortcut, no mercy for you. It's just you and the turn. The rest of the track, though, is pretty solid. There's a lot of shortcuts, and the aesthetics are interesting. Ancient Babylon tech ruins floating in the sky, it's pretty cool. Though personally, I still prefer Sand Ruins when it comes to ancient ruin vibes. But that's just me. And the music? Yeah, it's great. Not Sand Ruins great, but still pretty great. After Sonic beats Jet in the race, we hit the ending. Eggman is about to use the mysterious cube to open a door of some kind that we'll get to later. And then he tries to hold Amy hostage by lifting her into the air like she's a misbehaving cat. And seriously, what's the plan here, Eggman? Drop her 2 feet? You don't have a weapon, you don't have a trap, you don't even have a threatening monologue prepared. I have no idea what he was hoping to accomplish here by holding Amy here, but okay, sure, it's a hostage situation. Sonic clearly realizes this is the least threatening hostage situation in history and just slams into Eggman with his board, resulting in Wind Blast that sends Eggman, Amy, and the cube flying in 3 different directions like someone hit shuffle on reality. Sonic manages to snag the cube mid-air and hands it back to Jet. And yeah, that might seem weird at first. Why are you giving the magical artifact back to the guy who's been trash-talking you the entire game? But remember, this was Jet's cube originally, so Sonic's just returning stolen property. Jet is confused for about 3 seconds until Wave goes, "Treasure is treasure, let's go," and the rogues immediately take off to do whatever the Babylon rogues do with ancient sky treasure. Everyone's ready to celebrate until Amy remembers that Sonic launched her into a tornado earlier, and she's not letting that slide. She pulls out her hammer and starts chasing Sonic around like she's trying to whack a very fast, very blue piñata. Amy is mad, like really mad. And with that, roll credits. Overall, it's a good story. A little goofy, a little chaotic, but fun. And it does leave a bunch of unanswered questions. And that gets addressed in the Babylon story. Yes, Sonic Riders has 2 story modes, but you only unlock the Babylon story after you beat the hero story. But before we dive into that, I run a game studio, which means I need money, which means you're about to watch my commercial. Commercial break time. Hey! You're finally awake! Let me guess, you just paid $80 to play Skyrim again on the Nintendo Switch 2 for the 15th time! Bethesda, what are you doing? Did you forget how to make new games? Or did Todd Howard spend the entire creativity budget on sweet rolls again? So listen up, maggots! While Bethesda is busy selling you the same game on a different console, Centurion Dragon Studios is actually making new content! You could pay $80 to buy Skyrim for the 15th time, or you could spend $4 and get a brand new game on your PC. I know math is a little hard when you've bought Skyrim more times than you've bought groceries, so let me help you out. 4 is smaller than 80. Way smaller. Embarrassingly smaller. $4? That's less than a Starbucks drink that tastes like melted crayons. And unlike Skyrim, Nova Rebellion doesn't crash because you stared at a cabbage too aggressively.
Cabbages.
So go and buy Nova Rebellion and rock the galaxy. Alright, don't worry. There will be no more ads for the rest of the video. Now we've beaten the hero story, it's time to jump into the Babylon story. This mode covers the same events, but from the rogue's perspective. And honestly, it's the better story. The Babylon rogues are just great characters. You've got Jet the Hawk, their leader, and basically Sonic's ego cracked up to 11, but not quite at Eggman's "I built a giant space station modeled after my face" levels of ego. Then there's Wave, the tech genius of the group. Easily the smartest and most responsible one. And finally, we got Storm, the Albatross, who is, well, a big loyal brick wall with the brain of a brick wall. But he means well. The story opens with Eggman visiting their base, which is a giant flying blimp. Because, of course it is. Here we learn that Eggman actually hired the Rogues to help him take down Sonic. And that mysterious blue cube Jet had, turns out it's the key to Babylon Garden. Then we jump into the first Babylon track, Night Chase. Most of the Babylonian tracks, except for the final one, are remixed versions of the Hero Story tracks. Same music, different layout and aesthetic. Night Chase is basically Metal City, but at night. And it takes place during the chase from the opening cutscene. Although, call me silly, but in the opening cutscene, Sonic and Jet looked like they chased each other for 10 seconds, and that was it. The Rogues got away after that. Here, apparently, they circled the entire city 3 times. Racing game logic, I guess. Night Chase is actually a better track than Metal City, in my opinion. The nighttime lighting looks great. And also, you have to dodge cop cars, which is also pretty cool. After that race, we get to the next cutscene, which is basically the same one from after Metal City, except now it's from Wave's perspective. We see her plant the bomb on Sonic's board, or Tails' board, or whoever's board it was. Tails was the one holding it. And we also learn that she actually liked his board design, but still roasted him anyway. Why? I don't know. Maybe bullying is her love language. But this raises a very important question. How did no one notice the giant blinking red light on the bottom of the board? There's literally a moment where the board is facing the other characters, and they still didn't see the bomb. And this happened way earlier in the story. Sonic raced on that board multiple times and never noticed the explosive strapped to it. Not even a, huh? That's weird. My board is beeping. This game really stretches believability sometimes, but whatever. Next up is Red Canyon, which is basically Splash Canyon at sunset. It's slightly remixed, has a few more cave sections, and that's about it. Not a bad track, just not much to say about it. After Red Canyon, we get one of the funniest cutscenes in the entire Babylon story. Storm barges in like a panicked toddler and blurts out he lost to the red dude, meaning Knuckles. And Storm absolutely cannot process the idea that he lost because, you know, he messed up. So he starts rambling nonsense about how Knuckles must have cheated. The sun was in his eyes. Mercury was in his retrograde. He's literally trying to blurt anything except, I messed up. Then Wave walks in and obliterates him. She tells him straight up that he sucks. And Storm reacts like someone just tried to explain quantum physics to a potato. His brain just stops. You can practically hear the Windows error sound.
Buddy, it's not the board. Your skills just suck.
What? Suck?
Yes, S-U-C-K, suck.
Stop it!
Jet finally gets tired of the bickering and sends Storm to gather intel on Eggman. Because Jet knows Eggman is hiding something, and Jet hates secrets. So Storm heads out to investigate, which apparently means racing through Eggman's ice-themed factory, like a confused linebacker. And that brings us to the next track, Ice Factory, a remix of Egg Factory. Ice Factory is honestly the better version of the stage. Instead of racing through a giant metal furnace, you're now blasting through a frozen industrial freezer. The whole place looks like a cross between a deep frozen warehouse and a butcher shop, minus the hanging meat, unfortunately. Visually, it's way cooler. literally and figuratively. The ice blue lighting, the frosted machinery, it all works, and the track itself is a ton of fun. I do kind of wish the ice affected the racing mechanics a bit more, but since everyone's on hoverboards, I guess slipping and sliding isn't really a thing. Still, it's a great track, it looks fantastic, and it's one of the more memorable Babylon side tracks. The next cutscene has Jet and Wave hanging out in the woods, and Wave is stressed out like the world is ending. Jet, meanwhile, is giving the most "I'm sure it'll be fine" energy imaginable. And Wave starts absolutely laying into him about he's the leader, he has responsibilities, full-on nag mode. And it's hilarious. Jet is just laying there, like a man who has long since accepted that listening is optional.
Some you understand, but you...
Huh?
And honestly, it's moments like this remind me why I'm glad I'm single. I don't need some bitch giving me a full lecture in the middle of a forest while I'm trying to relax. Jet eventually spots Sonic in the distance, and immediately he just bails on Wave and jumps off to go taunt him. Wave is left standing there like, wow, he really didn't care about a single word I said. Which leads us to White Cave, which might be the strangest track in the entire dadgum game. Why? Because it looks like it's from an alien planet. There are white dust falling everywhere. I'm guessing it's supposed to be snow, but it looks like someone spilled powdered sugar all over the level. The plants are weird, the lighting is weird, the terrain is weird. Everything about this place screams extraterrestrial nature documentary. And yes, the giant centipedes from Green Forest are back. Apparently they migrate here. Parts of Green Forest layout even make up some of the level, which makes the whole remix feel like a weird fever dream. White Cave is one of those tracks where you finish a race and immediately ask yourself, what the hell was that place? After White Cave, the crew heads off to the desert, and Storm finally shows up, only to immediately fall off his board like the absolute klutz he is. Peak Storm behavior. Then we get a piece of Eggman's diary, or a digital documentary, or his evil blog. Whatever it is, it reveals an old Babylon myth about a boy who got an angel wing and used it to rule the world. Don't worry, this myth is never brought up again, ever. It's just here for flavor, I guess. Eggman, of course, thinks this legend means he can unlock some kind of super technology if he can get to Babylon Garden. Jet sees this and is like, nope, he wants nothing to do with it. And this is where we get one of the greatest Jet lines in the entire series, and honestly, one of his funniest moments.
I guess it's not a gem after all.
Oh well, guess this was just a wasted effort. Too bad, really. I haven't the slightest interest in world domination or advanced technology.
Hey, wait a second, okay, Jet? While Eggman may not look smart, he is. He has an IQ of 300 after all. If he's interested in this technology, it must have value.
Are you saying there's profit in this?
Think about it. It may be more valuable than finding silver or gold.
Why'd you do that? I was just having this great daydream.
Come on, Jet. It's time to go back to the race.
I don't know why, but Jet pretending to be Scrooge McDuck is absolutely hilarious to me. This leads us to the next track, Dark Desert. And honestly, I like this one quite a bit. It's a little odd though. About 3/4 of the way through it, you hit this weird minigame section where you're in a giant spinning thingamajigger. Don't really know what it is. Is it a gravity cylinder? A gravity well? A cosmic blender? I have no idea what it's supposed to be. But it's there, and you just kind of gotta go with it. The rest of the track is pretty cool, even if it's on the shorter side. Pro tip, right after the first big jump, you'll see a bunch of tiny ramps. Do not trick off of them unless you're about to run out of air. Why? Because then you won't be able to control your landing, and you'll almost always slam straight into a rock and lose all your speed. If you're desperate for air, sure, do a trick and accept the rock to the face. Otherwise, just fall straight down and keep moving. Also, I find it cool that near the end of the track, you actually race through part of an Arabian city. Like, who built their city on top of a bunch of ancient, advanced Babylon ruins? Like, who looked at a mysterious lost civilization and said, I'm gonna build my house here? It's bizarre, but hey, it's Sonic Riders. At this point, weird is the norm. After Dark Desert, you know the drill. Babylon Garden rises out of the desert after Jet does his little ritual. Then we get to a news broadcast in Metal City, and this part cracks me up. The newscasters are like, a giant floating thing appeared in the desert, and Sonic and his friends went to investigate. So apparently Sonic is such a big deal in this universe that the news just casually tracks his every move. Then again, Sonic Adventure 2 did establish that he is a world-renowned hero, so I guess it's not that far-fetched. This leads us into Sky Road, the Babylon version of Babylon Garden. And honestly, Sky Road is the better track. Sure, there are more bottomless pits, but the turns are way easier to make. So overall, it's a smoother ride. I'm not saying you'll never fall off, you absolutely can, but it's nowhere near as punishing as Babylon Garden. You also play as Wave here, and she has some fantastic shortcuts that make the track feel even better. Sky Road is, in the most literal sense, a remix of Babylon Garden. Same architecture, same floating ruin aesthetics, just rearranged into a new layout. And yeah, it works. After the race, we cut to Jet opening the door and unlocking the ancient whatever it is. Meanwhile, Sonic and Amy are still going at it. Amy's trying to whack-a-mole Sonic with her hammer, Sonic is dodging for his life, and Tails and Knuckles are just like, we didn't sign up for this. And then everyone hears a loud, whatever sound this is.
What? Finally, something interesting.
So Sonic and his friends run after the Babylon rogues to investigate, and that's when they run into whatever this thing is. Apparently, it's called the Guardian, and yes, this game actually has a final boss. It's this thing. And you play as Sonic for this one, and the fight takes place in the digital dimension, which is something I don't know what it is. A pocket universe, a glitchy cyberspace, the Babylonians' corrupted hard drive. Whatever it's supposed to be, it's weird. The track is basically just a big loop. Your goal is to ram into the Guardian's bottle. Yes, bottle. The boss comes out of the bottle like some kind of evil genie. And you have to hit it 3 times. After that, you cross the finish line and boom, mission complete. You don't even have to get first place here. You just have to cross the finish line and you're done, just so you know. The digital dimension itself shifts around and gets pretty trippy at times. It's bizarre, but honestly, it's a fun multiplayer track. Especially when you're playing with someone who's still learning the game. Simplicity actually works in its favor in this instance. Now the music, look, for a final boss, you'd expect something epic, something intense, something that screams, "This is the climax." But nope, the music does not fit the final boss vibe at all. Maybe it fits the track, but maybe it fits the weird digital aesthetic, but final boss music, nope, this isn't even close. After the final boss, we get the ending, and this cutscene with Eggman is beyond hilarious. He shows up threatening the Rogues and Sonic's crew with actual guns. Laser guns, sure, but still guns. He demands the treasure chest they earned after defeating the Guardian, and when they hand it over, it's a rug. A rug. Eggman tries so hard to hype it up. This is incredible treasure. It's a priceless artifact. And then it hits him. The moment of realization, that brain-melting, soul-crushing realization.
Babylon. Undoubtedly, this carpet will be in high demand from all around the world. But what's this? No way. I went to the trouble of holding the World Grand Prix for this? I can't believe I just wasted my time for this piece of junk.
While Eggman is having a complete mental collapse, everyone else realizes the truth. The rug is actually a prototype Extreme Gear, a magic carpet, which is, honestly, pretty cool, but I still have no idea what Eggman planned to do with it. Even if he had been conscious enough to understand what was happening. It still would have been a complete waste of time for him. This leads us into the final cutscene, where Jet and Sonic's crews say their goodbyes, and Jet and the Rogues literally ride off into the sunset as their theme, Catch Me If You Can, kicks in. And let me tell you, that theme is an absolute banger, especially the Rockin' Beats remix. Seriously, take a listen to both of them back to back and tell me what you think.
Nothing can be done. Catch me if you can. There's no turning back. It's fine. Reach but never catch. Fuck wild. You can't fathom that. It's fine. Wonders you can't have. There's no turning back. Reach but never catch. You can't find that. Wonders you can't have. Wonders you can't have. Wonders you can't have. Wonders you can't have. Wonders you can't.
Overall, the Babylon story is pretty daggum good. It's cartoony, it's goofy, and it's full of personality. And that's exactly why I love it. Heck, even Sonic's story is pretty cartoony. The whole game is just lighthearted, slightly unhinged, and fun. That's the best way I can describe this game's story. Just a pure, fun, lighthearted adventure with hoverboards and ancient sky treasure. What more could you ask for? Each story mode is only about an hour long, so you can finish the whole thing in around 2 hours. There is some side content too, but not a ton. Enough to keep you busy if you want more though. So, let's talk about them. In the original Sonic Riders, you can unlock extra characters like Shadow, Cream, Eggman, and Rouge, pretty standard stuff, as well as a few extra tracks. However, when me and my nephew play multiplayer, which is basically the only time I ever play multiplayer, we don't use the vanilla version. We use Sonic Riders DX. What is Sonic Riders DX? It's a fan-made overhaul mod for the GameCube version of Sonic Riders, and it changes a lot. New balancing, new tweaks, new quality of life improvements, even new characters. Right now they've added Silver, Chaos, and Metal Sonic. I'm not sure if the mod is still being updated, but even if it's not, what's already here is fantastic. DX also unlocks everything from the start, so you have every board, every character, every track, the whole package ready to go. Plus, it adds a bunch of new music tracks. Oh yeah, that's another important thing. Unlike the story mode where you're stuck using whatever board your character is using when you start the race, you can actually pick what board you want to use before you go on a racetrack when you're playing multiplayer. And some characters even have things like air skates and air bikes. Why this wasn't in the story mode, I have no idea. But hey, at least it's in the multiplayer, am I right? So let's get to the multiplayer modes themselves. First, you've got your standard races. You can race on any track you've unlocked, including all the ones from the story, and a few extra ones that you unlock by completing bonus modes, including a remix of Digital Dimension that is somehow even weirder than the original, and there are 2 Sega-themed tracks, Sega Illusion and Sega Carnival. Sega Carnival is my favorite because it lets you race through a section themed around Crazy Taxi. Both these tracks are basically just mishmashes of parts from other Sega properties and basically function as tours of those properties, such as Channel 5, Super Monkey Ball, Nights into Dreams. But like I said, I like Sega Carnival best because it has a Crazy Taxi section. Then you've got the 2 cups, the Hero Cup and the Babylon Cup. And it's pretty simple. 5 tracks each, from city to the desert. Race through all 5, and it just functions like any other racing circuit from any kart racer, just with hoverboards. Then there's Capture the Emerald. This is a bizarre minigame. The best way I can describe it is grab the emerald, run through rings to charge it. Whoever fully charges it wins. I still don't fully understand what's happening, but it's chaotic fun. Then there's the battle mode. Now here's the wild part. Despite all the time me and my nephew have spent playing this game, we have never touched the battle mode until today. And oh boy, it's fun. Right off the bat, the Space Arena sucks, but the other 2 are great. You drop into one of 3 arenas and just beat the tar out of each other. And the music is incredible. Not all of it is Sonic music either. In DX, in the Ice Arena, when I first played it, I heard this song kick in. For those who don't know what this song is, it's called A Stranger I Remain, and it's from Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Who on the mod team decided that this song belonged in Sonic Riders? I have no idea, but I'm not complaining. It fits way too well. So, should you play Sonic Riders? Honestly, yes, if you're willing to put in the time. Give yourself, I would say, about an hour to learn the mechanics, maybe less. Look up a guide? No, seriously, look up a guide, because this game doesn't teach you jack squat. Once you understand how the game plays and how the systems work, you've got at least 2 hours of story content to run through, and there's a ton of value in the multiplayer. But here's the catch. Finding someone who can actually play Sonic Riders is almost impossible. This is not Mario Kart. Mario Kart is pick up and play. Sonic Riders is pick up, study, practice, fail, practice again, and then maybe you'll get it after all that. But once you get it, it's a ton of fun. I absolutely love this game, and I think you will too. Also, if you're curious to check out Sonic Riders DX, I'll leave a link to it in the description, as well as a link to our Discord server, if you want to check that out as well. And with that, this is the Anti-Gamer Slayer, signing